Hi, my name is David, and I'm going to say in public something I've never said before about something that I've always loved but never voiced it, and something that I've always hated but kept it to myself. The thing that what I've always loved is my country. I get emotional about it because I do, which is the United States. And there are so many things that I love about it. I mean, I've traveled a lot around the United States, all over the world, and some obvious things to love about it is the natural beauty and the variety of types of natural beauty, and also the variety of cultures that exist in this one country. And that's obvious. But one thing I've always loved about, I really don't want to be emotional at all. One thing I've always loved about America is that there's an overall sense of optimism and positivity about it. It's a feeling of a sense that whatever your situation is, that you can improve upon it, and values of, exploration and excellence and achievement and so many things that are about that are what I think America represents. And I feel a need to say this because I think this country is being infiltrated by something that I secretly have not liked for many years. And what that is, so they have these two sides of the political spectrum, the right and the left. I've never liked the left. There are all these people. They talk about, saving the environment and the evils of big corporations, and I agree with those things. I think there's something to be said for that, there's a lot to be said for that. But I've always found people on the left to often be, if there's a word that's the opposite of inspiring, I would, I could say uninspiring. I always found them to be people who are kind of jealous and more focused on blocking and controlling people than on achieving anything. That it's almost like that was their idea of success, was to block and control people. And I've never really resonated with the left. And so those are two things I've never said publicly, and I think that what I'm appreciating now that I took for granted is the Constitution of the United States. I think that basic things that I thought were natural rights, basic rights like freedom of speech, I realize is something that you can't take for granted. It's something that, by protecting freedom of speech, you're protecting something that's not easily protected. Because, someone might have a different opinion, but, unless they're an amazing martial artist or something, they're going to be weaker than the people who, oppose that opinion because it's a group over an individual. And someone could come along with, so the Constitution is a piece of paper with writing on it. They could come up with an alternative Constitution that doesn't honor freedom of speech, and they could be backed by larger numbers and a stronger force. And so, freedom of speech is actually not something to take for granted, and I think it's really important that people with different points of view can speak, sometimes an individual can know something or see something or have a different perspective than that the other people don't have and is valuable. And and so anyway, and so what's going on right now is, in my opinion, I think, yeah, I see the globalism thing is more of a left wing thing. I think what's behind, for example, censoring on the internet, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, I think it's coming from the left. I mean, I've seen incidents on the street where preachers talking and a leftist person getting violently opposed to the person, like wanting to silence it. It's almost like the left is like consider themselves like this alternative idea. They're an alternative bohemian or something that rejects alternatives ideas. It's like they believe their own rhetoric and they're silencing other ideas that disagree, especially if it's about trying to find the truth no matter where it leads. you know and so I think it's time that people come together as if you are an American and believe in American values, to voice your opinion. And what I also think is very leftist is the whole pandemic thing, like everything from wearing masks to social distancing, and it's all about controlling the population, not just what people do, but controlling the numbers of people. I've always found, the population reduction thing to be something I don't agree with. And, I recently made a video supporting Donald Trump, and I stand by that. I support him. And recently he came out and said that gender and biological sex are one and the same, and I agree with that. For example, I've always thought that people who, have some operation and change, for example, from a man to a woman, I felt like they were just not just pretending, but pretending that they weren't pretending, and then trying to use the law to make other people go along with pretending not pretending. But it's not so much that I agree with that. With Trump's position, is that I appreciated that he took a stand, and I think that it's time that people take a stand and support the country that you love, and because it could easily be infiltrated, and if people don't stand up for it, so anyway, I get emotional when I think about that. I love America, but I do, and and I don't want it to be taken away. Sorry, I really don't want to be some emotional idiot. I really don't. But it's something I really feel, and it's something yeah. And I think one thing we could do is support Donald Trump in the upcoming election, and that's one of many things we could do. It's something we could. It's also something we could connect around. Form community around. Let's make America even greater. That's all I have to say. Bye.